Take a deep breath, because if you come to this center, your life will get better, and we are claiming freedom for everyone. So take a deep breath, because get ready. Life is about to change as we claim and affirm our freedom with our treatment for freedom. Together aloud, I speak my word for myself, my center, and all its members and friends. I know love as the only reality. I am created out of love. Love is what I am. I know this love as absolute freedom in every area of my life, the life of my center, and all who call it home. I know our center's mortgages are paid in full, and I claim for all of us financial freedom with all debts paid and cleared. I release any sense of struggle or wrongdoing. I live in an abundant universe where there is more than enough for all. We experience freedom in every moment by always having more than enough money, vibrant health, and loving relationships. We are who we have come here to be. With hearts open wide, we see the world through the eyes of love. We are blessed, we are rich, and we are free. And so it is. And we do that by using our 5 points of power. I always pay attention. I always tell the truth and tell it quickly. I always ask for what I want when I want it. I always take total responsibility for my experience, and I always keep my agreements. And so it is. Johnny Waterhouse. Yay!
Great job.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are those points of power working on you? How are they working on me? I got after midnight the other night saying, I should have done this the last 12 times I thought about it, but I'm going to do it now. Pay attention. You do what you got to do, right? So let's have an interesting conversation today. We're going to talk about judgment. Don't you love it?
Not really.
Come on, you know you love it. Gives you the eye, doesn't it? Hiding in the corner, waiting to get out. Yeah. It is. It's kind of exhilarating. In fact, in our culture, it's just part of the fabric of our culture. We're expected to judge. We even hire people to judge for us. You know that? You know what they're called? Judges. We don't call them judges. We say, Your Honor. So we're honoring the judging in our culture. It's quite fascinating how we do that. But if you get to be such a great judge and really, really move up in the ranks, you get to be called a justice. Go figure. Comes pretty natural, though. So much so that when I looked up a definition online, I went to a psychology glossary, and I came up with a definition. We can read along together. Judgment is a term that refers to the process by which people make decisions and form conclusions based on available information and material combined with thought and experience. This is a trait that develops with education, training, and experience, and that causes a person to make the best possible choices in any given situation. You're not buying it, are you? I know. Well, let me tell you why I didn't buy it. Okay? Oh, you can't really see it that good, but I'm looking at the based on available information material. How many times do you think when people are making a judgment are looking for all the available information? Not. Judging is spontaneous and reactive. You know, it just hits us, you know? But it actually hits us from within because we're experiencing something that we disagree with. So we judge it, and whoever's saying it or doing it, we suddenly make them wrong. So we can be right. Funny how that works. The word experience, combined with thought and experience, as though it's going to get better. You know? And then it says, this is a trait that develops with education, training, and experience. The better educated and trained and experienced I am, the better I'm going to judge you. Doesn't that sound bizarre? And as though we're going to evolve in our ability to judge. Oh my God, are we in this as a culture? Judging gives us a sense of being superior, better than the people around us. It's like an adrenaline rush when it happens. And we set ourselves apart from the people around. Not that that works at all, but we somehow think that we're loftier and clearer and better than the people around us, and that just flat doesn't work. That's not who we are. Let's get away from that. Look at the eyes again for a second. The whole idea of criticizing the people around us sets us, in a way, apart from them, but at the same time, it hooks us. You know, think about it. Every time you judge something, you don't stay there. You don't wander around all day thinking about the thing you were judging or the person you were judging. But everything that you judge upon gets a hook in you and weighs you down a little bit. Think about all the times you've judged in your life. After a while, it gets a little burdensome, doesn't it? It's like you're expected to do that. It's like, okay, here we go again. You're wrong. And where does that get you? It doesn't actually hurt the person or situation that you're judging at all. It doesn't affect it at all. What is it Edwin says? Every time you judge someone, it's like taking a sip of poison, expecting that other person to get sick. It doesn't work. It's not a healthy thing. It doesn't fit into the way that we say we want to be. Now, you could say that what I'm doing right now is judging judgment. And you'd be right. But what are you doing by having that thought? A bit insidious, isn't it? So we're going to do a little test here and see how you're doing on being in judgment in your life, okay? So just I want you just to feel it. Feel whatever happens to you. Oh, I think we're having some reactions in the room. Any judgment going on?
Looks good to me.
Live with that pain that you just called out. Whoever did that is going to have to live with that. Maybe they're happy to live with that. But is it getting you where you want to go in life? How about a little greed? Huh? What's he doing with a computer? He's a bum. Which one gets you, the cigarette or the prostitute? Both, huh? Because I took it off of Google under prostitution. Come on. The one on the left is in the advertisement. The one on the right is the one you get when you go to talk to them. And if you do enough of them, that's what you get. Okay. Who's willing to admit that some judgment came up in that process? Yeah, the rest of you may well be either delusional or lying. But the idea is that it comes very natural to us. Yet it does not help us. Now I can say, well, use different words then. Let's be discerning. Yeah, different, huh? What we can do though is we can move away from this thing where we're qualifying something as wrong, and rather than doing that, observe it and see where it will take us. See what we can learn from it. See, and so I have some things that I want to share with you on maybe how we can all, me included, I'm not keeping myself out of this game at all. We can kind of adjust ourselves around this idea of so quickly going into judgment, so quickly finding fault. It's a thing that we all are still doing, even though our teaching tells us not to do it, and we occasionally say it, although I have to say I went through my previous talks, and I have a whole folder full of talks all the way back to the year 2000. And I put a find in it for the word judgment, and only 2 files came up. Only 2 talks I've ever given actually had the word judgment in it. Isn't that amazing? And none of them were titled with the word judge, judgmental, or judgment. You'd think as much as I carry on about that it would have shown up more on Sunday morning. But I'm making up for a little lost time this morning. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you some ideas that I think might help us begin to set this down and live our lives differently. Let's go through it. How to avoid falling into judgment. Ask questions to learn more. You see something or you hear something and you immediately know what it is, right? How's this? Now, those of you that have taken my Member in Spiritual Community class know this. But I want to ask the rest of you, who knows what this means? Ah, very good. Not a single hand in the room because you can't possibly know what it means. It's a simple statement, but you can't know what it means. Does it mean, I never said you were stupid? Barbara did? Does it say, I never said it was stupid? You were stupid? It didn't happen? Did I say, I never said you were stupid, but I was thinking it? Does it mean, I never said you were stupid, I was talking about the person behind you? I never said you were stupid, I said you are stupid? Or I never said you were stupid, I said you were a little slow. Which one does it mean? You can't know until you ask. Until you ask the question, what did you mean by that? How often do we do that? We still don't do it that often. It's easier just to go, oh, and fall into that state of judgment and find fault. It's so much easier to do that because that's that little game going on in our head, little game going on behind the scenes where nobody can see it. But if we really wanted to know, if we really wanted to extend ourselves beyond the possibility of judgment, we would. We would ask, what did you mean? And not, what did you mean? What did you mean? When you said the thing that you said, whatever it was, could you tell me more about it? Could you say something more so I can understand what you mean? And what sometimes happens in that moment is the person that said the original statement gets a moment to get clear about it. Because maybe they really didn't mean what they said. But if we fall into judgment, suddenly from that thing that was said or done, we indict that person permanently. We have trouble making eye contact with them. We're definitely separate from them. But yet, the one that's holding the burden in that moment is us because we were in judgment. Maybe not so good. Maybe something to think about. Number 2, avoid thinking you're better than others. For years, I thought I was better than all the Baptists on the planet. I'm not. Those good folks over at the Baptist Church are experiencing the divine their way, and they're entitled. And I have no right to find fault in them. I think differently than they do, but I am not better than them. They are as spiritual as I am. In fact, I'm holding myself up to that level right now. None of us are any better than any one of us. If we are truly the presence of the divine, we cannot take ourselves to a higher level than anyone else on the planet. We're all seeking to understand. We're all seeking our way through life. Different methods, different means, different journeys, but we're all the presence of the divine, no matter what we believe. Even moving into things that we, obviously, as a culture now, are banging a drum to try to create. And yes, there are people that do some pretty distressing things on the planet. But I guarantee you, even the extremists in Islam are seeking to find a way to make life work. We don't think they're being very effective with it, but they are the presence of God as much as we are. So when we think about those people, we pray for their clarity. We pray for them to step into the light and know the truth. We don't condemn them. We don't send them to hell. That's not our business. Ours is to know the highest knowing of the divine everywhere and always with all people. It does not help us to think ourselves superior. It feels good, but it doesn't last and it's not real. Don't attribute personality traits. In other words, when somebody does something that you disagree with, don't make them bad. Don't take a statement they make and interpret that into a psychological profile. You don't have the skills to do that. Nobody does. They, again, are the presence of the divine, so see that in them. In fact, that's where we're going. Don't expect others to share your values. Wouldn't that be nice? I would never do that. Of course you would. But somebody else did. They're finding their way. Communication is the only tool we have there. And that's to seek to understand them, not to impose upon them who we think we are. So that's where we work from, is when, you've heard many times people say that the evening news is simply a request for prayer. But not from a superior perspective. It's a request that we all find our way. Barbara loves to watch the local news because there are so few violent crimes up here in these mountains. And she keeps reminding me what a safe, beautiful, wonderful place we live. And when there's a violent crime in Asheville, she turns the TV on. Works. It absolutely works. Play with the idea that you really do live in an elegant universe. And then you'll get to live in an elegant universe. If you continually find fault in life around you, you will continue to struggle with it. What good is that? Why do we do that? People do not share all of our values. We prize them, but we don't expect them. And please, when you get into a relationship, the idea that other person is going to see life exactly the way you do around things like toothpaste tubes is ridiculous. Or toilet seat covers or 1,000 other things. They're not. Love them. Just love them. That's why you're there, right? Are you there to make them a mini you? Of course not. You're there to love. So love. Observe objectively. This is really important to me because my first thought is to want to go in and find fault. But if you can stay objective and look at what they're doing, if you knew everything that ever happened to a person, you'd understand exactly why they said or did what they did. It would fit perfectly. If you had been able to objectively observe them from the time they were born until the moment that they did that thing that looked so crazy and stupid and unacceptable, you would be able to tell anyone around exactly why it happened. Because that was their path. If you pull it out of its context and look at it, it looks awful. It's terrible, it's scary, whatever it is. But if you put it into the context of their lives, somehow it makes sense that they cracked at that moment, that they did that awful thing, that was how it turned out. It wouldn't be a surprise at all, because the universe is a perfect matrix. It's a perfect puzzle that fits together exactly. But you have to know all the parts and pieces to make that work. And you don't. So stay as objective as you can with everyone around you and everything that you see. And the thing that makes all of this work is find God in there. Find that divine essence of everything, because even in the muck and mire of things, as Emerson says, something sings. God's in there. What I find is that when things push my buttons, it's my button that got pushed. It's my work to figure it out. And the way I figure it out is to look back at that and go, what is it about that makes me feel this way? Why do I feel this way because of that? And then the lesson comes, and the lesson inevitably is, wake up to who you are. Know who you are, and then you won't feel like criticizing, blaming, or finding fault in that person. When I remember who I am, I don't need to be a judger. I don't need to be judgmental. I don't need to find fault. When I remember who I am, that's my work, always. I think it's all of our jobs to remember who we are and to live from that knowing. That's the power. That's the work. So you've heard about the bathroom situation in North Carolina. Oh, back in Judgement, are you? I want you to know, I've not ever been a legislator, but I want you to know that our legislators thought they were doing the right thing. So are the people that oppose that legislation. They feel like they're doing the right thing. Now, you can jump into the science, or you can observe objectively and learn about yourself. Do you have any judgments about that particular matter? I have some judgments about how our state is already suffering economically because of this. But we are, and that seems to be part of the domino effect here. So what do we learn from that? Well, this came up in this very place this week. And I want to give Kristen a lot of credit for bringing it up and processing it through. I don't want to tell you that Kristen had no judgment on this. She spent a week working on it. She wanted to put up signs at our restrooms. Some of the early drafts weren't working so good. But she got there. So when you go into any of the restrooms in the building, there's a little sign on the wall right next to it. This is what it says. We welcome you as a divine spiritual being, alive and well on planet Earth. We have a general neutral bathroom located upstairs for those members of our family who may need such accommodations, like fathers and daughters, mothers and sons, people with disabled children, adults with aging parents, the LGBT plus community, and for any other reason such as accommodation might be more convenient. Otherwise, please use a bathroom of your choice.
Awesome.
Well done, Kristen. Everybody stand up. I don't expect us all never to pop into judgment. We do. What I'm asking of you is to think before you put it out into the world. See if you can find a place of being beyond that. The best words I have ever heard on this matter come from our founder, Ernest Holmes. The last notable speech that he ever gave was at a Silmar in California. It was called Sermon by the Sea. And there's some very important words in it. If you want to read along with me. Here we go. You will never discover a person who is full of emotional judgment and condemnation of others, who is doing anything other than unconsciously releasing the tension of a burden so great to be borne that he does not even permit it to come out to the light of day to be seen, for he could not face it. This has been scientifically proven, and that is why Jesus, with the profoundness of utmost simplicity, did not say, "Judge not, lest God will judge you." He knew better. He said, "Judge not, that you be not judged. For with that judgment you judge, you shall be judged." In other words, your judgment will judge you. And with what measure you dispense judgment, punishment, or harsh treatment, it will be measured to you and to you again. God is not going to measure it back to you and say, "I will show you who's the boss." You are the one who measures. You're doing it. And if you feel a burden on your life at any moment, consider the idea that maybe you're in judgment about something. Maybe yourself. Maybe your family, maybe your boss, maybe someone, maybe me. Who knows? If you feel that, though, look inside. See how you can reconcile that. I employ you to open yourself to the possibility that you don't have to do that. That you can live a life without judgment. Or at least you can live a life without constant judgment by simply remembering the truth. That the presence of the divine is everywhere, always. It's in me, it's in you, and it's in whoever pushes your button. Sit with it, find the truth, and celebrate who you are. It'll only make life better. I love you very much. Thank you.